In 2008, three complete strangers were put together with the hopes of creating the greatest Sony podcast ever heard. Today, unable to stop podcasting, the show survives as connoisseurs of dick and fart jokes. If you need Sony news, are not deaf, and don't want to die of boredom, maybe you can listen to BigRedBarel Blue.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 7 of the Big Red Barrel Blue Show, the PlayStation podcast. I already messed it up. It's the Big Red Barrel PlayStation podcast, the Blue Show. We're so new. We've only done this show 7 times, so I can't keep straight what the name is. So,
welcome to episode 7/177.
I just farted. That's awesome. Dave's going to leave that in. I'm sure he's going to also
look at my tiny penis.
Sound bites from last week or the week before. Anyway, I'm Rothbart from Eugene, Oregon. I have been playing a ton of stuff that's not on the PlayStation. I have been playing Draw Something, Minecraft.
Wow, okay.
Temple Run.
Jeez.
Dirt 3. I've gotten into the Gymkhana stuff, which is kind of sweet. Sliding around, drifting, jumping. And
on what system?
PC. I got it for free.
Yeah, you build a gaming PC and you play Dirt 3.
I got it for free.
But Dirt 3 is great.
I beat Solitaire.
You did not. And I also beat Super Stardust Delta on casual on the Vita. That's a PlayStation system, so suck it, Frawlz. What did you beat on any PlayStation system this week?
Nothing.
Booyah.
I did Draw Something.
You know, okay, this game's taken off. It's exploding everywhere. Why is Android getting the shaft? We don't even get notifications.
No, it's just the first real, there's going to be another update that's going to allow them to have notifications. Plus, the notifications in the iOS
I know, but
sucks
this
anyway.
is after Zynga takes them over, so who knows what the hell it's going to get. Oh, you're going to get your notifications in the form of push advertisements when your game's not running.
I'm a little confused by you because you buy something and then you just complain about it. Why don't you just go with Apple? Why don't you just get an iOS?
I don't want an iPhone at all. There's nothing about an iPhone that I want.
Anyways, it's just that there's going to be another update for it. It's not that big of a deal because people on this podcast probably really don't care about Draw Something. But it's kind of cool. It just sucks when you get the same words.
I bought it.
You bought it?
Yes, I did.
Well, oh my God. There's a sucker born every day.
You get 2,000 words. The words were... Don't you...
You play that much that they repeated so much that they irritated you? I mean, I'm like, all right.
You get 99 words in groups of 3. Gee, I wonder how long you have to play before you get a repeated word set.
Apparently long time.
No.
Because I never really had it that bad.
Nobody will play with you. Don't even act like you play a lot. That writes when you play Draw Something, you need a nut kick. That's basically, it's not write something. It pisses me off. I was playing with somebody. I don't know who you are. I wish I remembered so I could mock you with your name. They drew a tent, a triangle with a door on it. Okay? It's a 4-letter word. And before I could spell T-E-N-T very quickly, they just scribbled over top their tent, T-E-N-T. So I took the opportunity for the next 2 pictures I drew in that game to write out in letters before I actually drew my drawing. Do not write in this game. It makes you lame. And they have to watch you in real time draw that shit, so.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny. A buddy of mine drew a big black penis for LeBron.
And did you get it?
That was pretty creative.
You were like, dinner, Thursday night, mom.
Funny.
Mom. Nice.
Mom.
Pac-Man. Tell us about the legalized prostitution in 20 seconds.
Legalized prostitution. It's been pushed more into a gray area. Basically, they can have brothels in my province now, and prostitutes can have bodyguards.
No more hot dog vendor fights?
Wait, were they not allowed to have bodyguards? Yeah, I know. Were they not allowed to have, almost said hot dogs. Bodyguard.
Yes. You whores! You cannot have bodyguards.
What was illegal though? The prostitution or the bodyguard? Yes. Defend for yourself. It's like Hunger Games.
Well, I mean, like since it's not really, a paying taxes sort of job, you didn't really have any sort of protection, so you couldn't legally say that you were paying anyone as a a legal bodyguard. I mean, it was basically just, if you were a street girl, you had a pimp, and that was it. So now basically it's just trying to make them safer, and they're not trying to like fix prostitution.
Are all the pimps getting their business cards changed from pimp to bodyguard?
And they can have 401k plans and stuff, and
yeah, I mean that's obviously the gray areas. How many of these people are actually protecting the girls, and how many of them are just pimps like they always were. But I mean, it's a crazy world.
Which province is that?
Has always been a little nutty.
Ontario.
Yeah, that's where it starts.
It's legal to go topless here too, which is another crazy thing for a country where it's too cold to go topless anywhere for 8 months of the year.
All right, what have you been playing, Pac-Man? What have you been doing?
Look at all the pregnant whores.
I've been replaying the Mass Effect series, and unlike before where I played it on the 360, and just knowing the limitations that the series had on the PS3, I ended up going with the PC version the whole way through. And as much as it pains me to say it, I should have done that from the get-go. It just looks better, plays better. It's just overall better all the way around. And I'm enjoying that, but on the PS3, I managed to do two things. One, I finally managed to break a Blu-ray disc.
Wow, what'd you do?
It was one of those like things where I didn't realize that I had my Killzone 3 case. I did not realize that it was open, and I did not realize that the disc inside was not clipped down. It was just sort of hanging loose within the box. And I was moving stuff around, and it fell into sort of this sweet spot corner where this huge, super, super, super heavy box I was moving was sort of sitting right on the sweet spot, pressing down on it against the metal beam that's on the corner of my wall. And I just sort of dropped everything at the right spot, and it was all that tension was there, and it was toast.
So did it just crack, or did it like break into pieces?
I didn't really notice it when it broke the first time, and I smashed a bunch of stuff over it before I realized that it was there and broken. So I'm not sure. Now it's in about like 7 or 8 big pieces.
The reason I was asking it is I was wondering if you tried to intentionally break one of the pieces to see how strong it was.
Oh no.
Because I've never broken a Blu-ray disc.
I mean, I've never even so much as had a problem with one of my discs being too scratched to play or anything. Like I've never actually seen one break in person.
Can I just say this is probably the best story ever told on this show?
But anyway, so I lost my Killzone 3 copy, but I ended up getting the multiplayer off of the PSN. So I ended up taking advantage of that, and it's a good deal. So, expect some gamer nights to come back for Killzone, because now that I've recently repurchased it, I feel the need to play it again.
Justify it.
Because when I lost that CD, I'm like, well, now I have to get it off the PSN. Not because I was playing it right now, but because I lost it, I had to replace it. Couldn't stop myself.
So, Frawlz, what's been up with you? We didn't really give you a proper intro.
Nothing. No, I don't think there's any time left. It's just all introductions at this point. Entertain. You right, Frawlz. Entertain us.
You want your bottle?
You need to talk a little bit.
What do you want me to say? There's nothing to say. Like, you want me to I have to do laundry.
Wait, we took all your content?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to talk about a DVD I broke earlier.
Well, DVDs are easy to break. That's not impressive.
I'm playing Draw Something. That's new. Someone recommended that I watch Misfits on Hulu. Doing that, actually, it's pretty damn good. I recommend that show.
You should do that. That show's awesome.
It's pretty good. So I'm on episode 2 right now. So I think by the time you guys listen to this, I might be half done with the first season, because it's actually pretty damn good. But anyways, yeah, that's me in a nutshell. This week on episode 7.
You're trapped in a nutshell.
That's a big-ass nut. Speaking of which, if you guys want to be freaked out, this is nut related, go to Wikipedia and just look up and read the entry on Cashews. It's
No.
There's nothing filthy about it. But I didn't know that cashews were hanging off of a piece of fruit called a cashew apple, which you could also eat, but we don't have here in North America because the skin is too sensitive to ship from where it grows in the tropical regions. And there were like about 5 or 6 things that just blew me away about cashews, and I have cashews frequently, and I knew none of this, and it just was weird.
Wow, my mind is blown. I was suspecting you were going to say that they were like grown in something really nasty, and it would be like, oh no, I can't.
And they make a couple different kinds of booze of varying degrees of alcohol content, so with cool tropical sounding names.
Cashews, can you be any more awesome?
They're not a nut. I did know that. They're seed, like a sunflower seed.
Same thing with almonds, I think.
Wow, this podcast has everything.
It's got a lot of nuts, I can tell you that. This is a lot of nut talk.
Frawlz was...
But we actually do have a really good agenda.
We went from dick talks to nut talks.
I'm going to skip the first topic, too, because I don't think people really care about 3 exclusive PlayStation home games.
I don't think anybody cares about home.
So, let's see what we got here.
By the way, can I just say, I think it's hilarious how they're like 3 exclusive games for home. It's like...
yeah, it's like these games are exclusive to the Wii.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because nobody else wants them.
Zing.
It's got Wii in the name. Yeah, it's an exclusive. It's on PlayStation Home. Yeah, it's almost guaranteed to be an exclusive.
Yep.
Let's see here. Apparently, Sony has noticed some more hacking going on the PlayStation Vita. This is so weird. You know, the PSP has been hacked wide open from almost day one. It's still the source of the hacking of their newer handheld, is people are exploiting PSP games under emulation, and somebody was actually able to get Doom running on a PlayStation Vita by hacking an exploit in MotorStorm Arctic Edge.
Yeah, why is that such a big deal?
Well, because
they pulled the games.
If there's a mechanism to get homebrew software running on the Vita, that gives them the ability to run something which may help them more quickly, or, you know, maybe it wasn't possible at all before, but to more quickly find other exploits that would run homebrew on the Vita maybe without a PSP game exploit. So what does Sony do? Instead of patching the hole in the PSP emulator, they just yank the games, because that's the quickest, easiest thing to do. They don't have to analyze how it happened. They just stop anybody that doesn't have that game from having the ability to get it and using the exploit.
But I mean, that's sort of foolhardy, because since the game's already out there, there's already copies that you can get.
That's true, and my guess is it's probably the short-term nip it in the bud while they address the longer-term, hey, we need to sandbox this PSP emulator a little better.
Well, let's hope that they can get ahead of that and patch the loopholes that's going to allow them. Because, I mean, the same thing happened with the PSP, is people use Lumens and a couple other games to get around.
Well, I could tell you this is the beginning of the end for the PSV right now. Everybody's going to turn on a PSV, and there's going to be nothing but updates now from here on out. So
it was interesting, speaking of the Vita, a friend of mine that got a Vita at launch, for whatever reason, did not get Uncharted, and got Uncharted this past week. And he was just like, holy crap, this game is amazing for a launch title. And, you know, that's what I'd been telling him all along, kind of egging him on to get the game. And it is stuff like this that really makes me nervous if piracy runs rampant, even if through, you know, some obscure way like this. I'll be really pissed that I don't get to see the games a year or two later that are phenomenally better than the launch titles, because some of the launch titles are amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you know, if the console or the handheld can survive long enough, you get to see some really big leaps and bounds in the quality of the games. I mean, you look at the first God of War that came out on the PSP, and then you look at the games that came out before PSV launch, so, you know, the next God of War, Peace Walker, stuff like that just look amazing, that was not even close to, you know, resembling the sort of shoddy looking stuff that came out with the PSP at launch. Man, I just hope that they can get ahead of this hacking, because I mean, everything can be hacked, there's nothing's invincible, but I would really like if it at least had a chance to get some legs before it got, you know, kicked on by everybody.
I'm waiting for the next round of impressive games. I mean, they kind of blew their wad at launch, but there hasn't been a whole lot come out since then.
Well, I mean, the proof in the pudding is going to be this coming holiday season, you know, the September to November.
You're just sitting there not using your PSV for months until the holiday season, so...
Well, there's games coming out for it still.
I played it just last night.
Really? What did you play?
Yes. Super Stardust Delta.
Oh, that's the one you beat. You beat it last night? So now you're bored.
No, I've been scrambling at work, and now I'm talking to you.
Oh.
Well, burn.
You make it sound like it's a bad thing.
My job is done. Battlefield 3 had a huge update this week. I don't care about what was in the update. If you play Battlefield 3 on the PS3, you probably do. But what was news to me is that they're rolling out this rent-a-server option from within the game, even the console versions. Now, I remember, several games where maybe you weren't completely knowledgeable of the maps, or maybe you just wanted to practice some of your technique or strategy or whatever, and so you would start a private match and just not invite anybody, and so or just a friend, or a couple people that want to show you stuff in private.
Run around a map for hours, just.
And so when I loaded up Battlefield, I have it on the PC. Go at it, Frawlz. But anyway, I couldn't create my own game. And so I thought that was odd, and I wondered how the console did it, and this announcement answered that for me. They've got Rent-A-Server. You can pay for them to host a virtual server for you to play in. So you buy the game. If you want to host your own matches, you buy time on their server after buying the game. And it's $1.49 for a day, and then they have a couple different steps up where it gets a little cheaper per day if you opt for a bigger chunk, but it goes all the way up to $65 for 90 days. That's more than the cost of the game.
As a PC gamer, I mean, back in the day, it wasn't uncommon for a couple people to put together money for cash for a server. But it is kind of crazy that they've taken that route, especially considering Battlefield 3 isn't really hard up for cash.
Did you check Battlefield 3's wallet?
Conversely, they know they can get people to pay the money for this.
Play Memory Studio. We talked about this. I think it was right before GDC or something. It was rumored to be coming, and now it's a real thing. It's basically people, and this is the comparison they always use. It's like Photoshop on your PS3. Not for $15. It's not. It might be like a decent photo retouching or adjustment app, but basically you pay $14.99 and you can manipulate your photos on your PS3, which I guess would be of more value if you didn't have a PC that could download something probably at least as good for free.
Or or just use like Paint or Microsoft Paint. I mean.
Well, actually, since we're in the topic of talking about all kinds of stuff that's not necessarily gaming related, if you go to getpaint.net, there's a program called paint.net. Don't go to paint.net because that's a paint website, but getpaint.net is a great free Windows-based graphics utility. It's no Photoshop, but it's a hell of a lot better than MS Paint.
Yeah, I mean, and you wonder why Sony's bleeding from all orifices when it comes to money. It's because they have people designing things like this.
Well, I don't know who designed this, if it was Sony in-house or whatever. I mean, I have no problem with them doing a graphics manipulation app. Somebody will buy it, but I bet we see the price go down. There is a 30-day trial. You can try it for free for 30 days.
I mean, if it's good, I could see a couple people buying it. But I mean, for the life of me, I can't think of a reason I would use it.
I mean, does anybody really store photographs on their PS3 anyway, or they just stream it from the computer?
I do. I have several hundred photographs on my PS3.
You are an anomaly to me sometimes. The things that you do to your PS3.
No. You go on vacation, or you want to show somebody some photos, or especially when we get back from going for a hike with the cameras, we stick the memory card in the PS3 and we all sit around and watch the pictures on the TV.
Yeah, that's the memory card. But do you have anything stored on your PS3 that you'd want to share?
Yes. And I have access to a DLNA server where I can access my photos stored on a PC, on my PS3, on the TV.
That makes more sense. But storing pictures on a console by themselves is just dumb.
Okay. You're dumb for putting the files in that directory. You need to put it on the other hard drive, not that one. That one's less dumb.
I'm going to go sit on my television and just get all the red eye out of my 1,000 pictures looking at my PS3 that, it's like, I'll watch this much as I can manipulate
like
this because I'm so... brown eye. Yeah. How many pictures have you had to get rid of the brown eye? And thousands of pictures?
There's an app for that.
Yeah.
All right, we need to move on. This is interesting. The Marvin Donald, who works at, I think it's Vigil Games, that might be wrong on that, the guys that do Darksiders, he was telling Game Reactor that the Wii U, they have a development kit, I guess, is, quote, on par with the 360 and PS3.
Wow, this generation's consoles.
That's impressive. It only took them how many years to do that?
I was just wondering how you guys are going to take that. I mean, they will, just like everybody else, get a little more juice out of their system after it's out for a couple years, but it seems like you want to best your competition when you're bringing out a new product. And I was just curious if you guys think the uniqueness of the Wii U with the the controller with the screen and all that crap, motion control, is it going to be enough?
Giant steering wheel.
Yeah, is it going to be enough to interest the average gamer? Or
no, because they can't replicate what happened with the Wii. They've already hit that market. They've already saturated it. They can't just get the Wii and have that same rush again. All they're really doing now is doubling down on hardware that's gonna launch and already be dated at launch again.
Now, what if they released a $30 photo editing app for the Wii U?
Well, then, I'd kill a whole bunch of homeless people to get it.
That'd be like Wii points, wouldn't it?
You'd beat a hooker for
points?
That. No, I wouldn't.
No, they'll be Wii U points. Get it straight. They're
Wii U
completely
points.
different than DS points and Wii points.
Oh, that's good.
They're not interchangeable.
Still $30.
Yeah. I was gonna jump a homeless dude for his steak because they're always walking around with steaks.
Pissing off the hot dog vendors. All right.
No, they're bodyguards now, man.
They all got upgraded. You know who I would not want to be right now?
Pac-Man.
Frawlz.
Okay, it's a long list. Part of the 40% of the workforce that got laid off from Game in Europe, they shut down 277 stores over there. And, that sucks. People losing their jobs sucks. But for the consumers, if they didn't pay attention to the signs on the wall, before this happened, they kind of probably got reamed. So if you had a gift card with a balance, screw you, it's gone. If you had a pre-order down on a game that is going to be released after the rest of the company probably shuts down, sorry, you can't get a refund. If you had a lot of perks worked up on your loyalty program at Game, the program's canceled. They're just screwing people. I realize they clearly have issues, but there's some things that you just go above and beyond to make sure you don't royally screw your customers. And I think that maybe they waited too long and just had no choice at this point, but damn.
You know what? It's funny that all this crazy stuff with retailers and digital distribution and consoles and online passes and stuff like this. It's stuff that's actually given PC gaming a resurgence in a really strong way. Like, the guys at Steam must just read the news and just be, laughing as they, wipe their asses with, money covered in diamonds.
That would hurt, dude.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because they probably have, they've done it so many times that they're diamond proof.
Gabe Newell has a diamond proof ass.
He's probably got a lot of diamonds in there, just doesn't know it.
Yeah, it's like diamond dust. So if he farts, he could cut a hole in a window or something.
Yeah, Gabe Newell can just fall through, just stick his butt on any glass window. And
no, wait, wouldn't that cut holes in the toilet as you took a dump? That does not sound appealing at all.
Not if your toilet was made of diamonds.
He needs a diamond toilet to keep from cutting holes with his turds. That's too far. Let's move on.
Yeah. We went a little too far down that one.
So, you guys remember? I know, I'm a bald person myself, and you guys have the highest respect for bald people. Phil Harrison.
Captain Picard was awesome.
Yeah, you have the best genetics out of everybody.
That's right.
Every future movie I've ever seen, there's always a bald guy. So I'm like, that must be the future. That's where we're all going, by the way. We're all going hairless at some point. We all started very hairy.
I'm far from hairless.
Your fiance can verify.
Anyway, Phil Harrison, he left Sony in 2008 for the bright green pastures of Atari, where he did exactly jack squat for that company. He was on a board. I forget if it was... I forget the company he sat on the board on, but he's back in the gaming news. He basically sat out this entire generation, leaving very early on in the PS3's lifespan. But he's at Microsoft, and...
Good. Good. Enjoy Microsoft.
Well, and then Peter Molyneux left Microsoft. But I was curious. Now, when he was at Sony, we gave him some props for some things that he did. Like, he was the avid supporter of SingStar. You guys mock it, but financially, it's been a success mainly in Europe. I mean, it is definitely a worthwhile venture for Sony to pursue SingStar. He also saw something in Media Molecule before Little Big Planet was remotely Little Big Planet. It was Craft World, looked completely different. But so he has had some good decisions, and he has championed some movements that were financially sound. My question is, do you guys think now, after 4 years of bouncing around the game industry, doing basically nothing that we know of, is he really a guy that you think is going to be able to do something positive for Microsoft as they move into the next generation with whatever machine or offerings that they come up with? Frawlz, what do you think?
I mean, these guys move around all the time, so I just feel like they go someplace, do 2 or 3 things, and then leave. So I think that's what he's doing. I think this is more of like a Sony power play. I'm sorry, a Microsoft power play to get one of their high-level guys over on there, just trying to share some trade secrets secretly, and then kick him out after a while. He's not going to last there very long.
But I mean, any trade secrets he has are 4+ years old.
Yeah, I know that, but he's also got some things in his head that he probably has ideas. They're probably going to use him for intellectual property and then boot him. I don't see him being there for very long. Microsoft's a little too stubborn, and Sony and Microsoft cultures are totally different.
We're going to see Kinect Star come out.
You might see Kinect Star, man. You might see Kinect Big Planet or something. I don't know. Something really bad.
Pac-Man, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't think there's any risk of intellectual properties or any of that stuff. I mean, there's just too high a risk doing anything like that. But I mean, yeah, he went to Atari for 2 years, then he went venture capital for a couple of years, and now he's back. But I don't think, as far as stuff I would care about, he's going to bring anything really impressive to Microsoft, because the last couple of years, and in his big speeches that he's given of late, he's very much, one of these people who are like, oh, casual games and browser-based games and small apps and things like that are the future. I mean, that's, been one of his big pushing talking points for the last little bit. Now, whether or not he's thrown it out the window to get behind AAA games again is kind of doubtful. I think he's...
Do you think he's kicking himself in the ass for leaving Sony?
No. I think Microsoft's brought him on board to be their new, casual, get into the sort of in-between markets, how they're going to expand the Xbox brand.
But he spent over 2 years at Atari.
He's there to spin, the Xbox versions of the casual market across everything else. He'll probably be the guy helping them tie in. A game will release on the 360, and it'll have a browser-based game that supports it.
Little Fable
sort of
Planet,
like with Mass Effect and iOS Mass Effect and stuff like that.
Fable World.
That's the kind of hope that might make the money, but I don't give a about it. And
I just think that the years he spent at Atari in between Sony and Microsoft were a what the hell did I do time for him.
Well, I mean, the only things that I'm looking at, just games from Atari in the last little bit, and
Alone in the
best thing I
Dark.
can say about them is they were smart enough to realize that there was potential in the Witcher series.
That was an autobiographical game, Alone in the Dark. He went to Atari and he was like, what the hell am I doing? There's nobody else here. It's dark. Why is it dark?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at their catalog of recent games, and like Active War, Neverwinter Nights, Witcher, and
Pawn 3D.
out of a list of like 60 games.
All right. Well, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. To see, sometimes these guys high up, I'm interested if they got lucky or if they really are, key players in the industry. So we'll be seeing if Phil Harrison...
He's their new casual genie.
Well, I mean, there's money in it. Maybe they can make some games to use these Kinects that are sitting in people's living rooms. But
there's money in crystal meth, but I'm not getting in on that either.
There's money in prostitution and bodyguarding in Canada.
Breaking Bad. God, I just finished that show. I love it. Anyway, the PlayStation Vita title Gravity Days, which will be known as Gravity Rush in Europe and the US, it sold 100,000 copies in Japan.
That's a Pac-Man sex move when he gets in bed with a fat chick.
The Gravity Days or the Gravity Rush?
The Gravity Rush.
After doing the Gravity Rush, he's gravity dazed. Get off me!
That's his girlfriend's stripper name. Next on the stage, Gravity.
Nice. Sounds hot.
Anyway, a lot of people are hyped. I mean, even in the Big Red Barrel staff, the email threads we were talking about reviewing games, everybody's like, God, I can't wait till that game comes out. Why do we have to wait 3 months or 4 months or whatever it is after Japan? And I don't know. I mean, it looks pretty cool. It's definitely out there on its own. I don't know of anything that's quite like it. I'm not fully sold on it, but it'll be interesting to see. And so, this summer. Speaking of which, speaking of things I'm barely interested in, or only want to admit I'm barely interested in, I have to confess I'm the tiniest bit hyped for Max Payne 3.
What?
Hell yeah!
Just a tiny bit. It's a baby step.
I knew you were hyped for Max Payne 3.
Just a little. Don't say it too loud. It's like a whisper.
Just a little is still hype. That is hype. You are hyped for Max Payne 3.
Not absolute hype, but relative hype.
The tip of the hype.
Relative
Just the
hype.
tip.
Semantics.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Frawlz knows what I'm saying.
Just the tip.
Watch the show, Archer, everybody.
All right, so some guys in Europe are getting these emails talking about a beta PlayStation Network, or maybe it's PlayStation Network beta, but the way it was described was a beta PlayStation Network. And somebody was a little suspicious because they were wanting their PSN ID and wanting them to pick a password. And, I would be suspicious too, because if I sent that out to 100,000 people, you can bet, more than a dozen are going to pick their real PSN ID and their existing PSN password just because they're retarded.
Yeah, don't you, isn't it like, they always send an email saying you will never receive an email from us asking for your password?
Right, well, they're not asking for your password. They're asking you to pick a password for this PSN beta. And what I was saying was some people would choose the same one. Anyway, somebody was smart. They were nervous. They did the smart thing, and they went to the PlayStation Sony Computer Entertainment Europe's Twitter feed, and they said, "Is this legit?" And they said, "We looked into it. It is legit, completely safe." And then they said, "I hope it's for something good." So I don't know what's going on over there, but it is legit. It seems to be sanctioned by Sony Computer Entertainment Europe.
You know what? Does it not sound like they're setting up their network for the next console?
Who knows? It could be, but I mean, these are people with PS3s now. But it did make me wonder if there's going to be some sort of a migration from the current PSN, or at least the PSN infrastructure, to a new one, and they're taking some people and just populating that network with real gamers doing real things.
Now, goddammit.
I think it's just going to be for the store. I think it's just a store change. Because that store's terrible.
It's due. We've had the current store layout for a while.
Terrible.
But I thought that was interesting. All right, we got some rumors. We got 3.
Rumors. Yeah, hey, we got the rumors section. Just want to do it nice and slow for you, because it's episode 7.
Okay, this first rumor. Are you done yet?
You guys don't have any fun with the rumor section anymore, I feel like.
It's all yours, Frawlz. It is yours. Do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love it.
The next. This is an interesting one. The next PlayStation is codenamed Orbis.
There it is.
And
what?
I just need to read this because there's so many things to address. So I'll just read it. It won't play PS3 games. It will have
No surprise there.
some sort of anti-used game or online pass, even for the offline single-player games, where
No surprise there.
basically games are being tied to your PSN account, and if somebody else wants to play that particular copy of your game, they will need to pay probably a $10 fee. So that, to me, says that the games are going to come with a unique ID somehow embedded on the disc, cartridge, wherever they use. The hardware is rumored to be still, as of yet, unfinalized, but is currently trending towards an AMD X64 CPU and an AMD Southern Islands GPU capable of easily rendering 1080p 3D games at 60 frames per second, or traditional 2D screens, so like what we get now on most of our games, at up to 4096 by 2160, which is the 4K resolution, which is the one that's going to make us all feel like HD is standard def.
Wow.
And the last thing, Orbis Vitae, which is like Vita with an E on the end, is Latin for Circle of Life. And Simba is not impressed.
Circle of Lame. But, I mean, that's almost certainly not the final name, so.
I think they should call it Bulbous.
Bulbous.
and have the symbol your head.
But I mean, besides not knowing for sure what the hardware that's going to go in it is, none of that's really surprising.
I mean, how many ball jokes are we going to be able to make with this? I hope it comes out with this. It'll only make our show even better.
Especially because once you buy one of these games, if it's tied to your account, you no longer have to always carry around the hard copy anymore.
That's a possibility, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, haven't they outright said that that's the one of the big things that they think is attached to the rumor?
I have no idea. You just said it, so it's now officially a rumor.
Now it's true.
Yeah, I mean, it is still a rumor, so we don't know for sure that it is, but
it's true.
I mean,
it's true that it's a rumor.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be cool if it was a setup like BattleNet or whatever, where I'd no longer have to keep that CD around if it's linked to my account. But we knew the copy protection was going to be there.
It's been brought up a lot,
You know,
so there's some weight to it.
you know, online passes were a certainty in the new systems. They were just definitely going to be there.
We've brought it up in 100% of our episode 177s. I don't know. I think a lot of that's probably got some weight to it. I think the name is a code name. I think I would not be surprised to see single player or all games. To say that it won't play used games is a misnomer. I think that it won't just be able to play used games willy-nilly.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the very least, used games will now across the board require at least a minimum fee in order to then turn them into a full release game again.
$70 games.
But I mean, and not playing PS3 games, people are like, oh, why aren't they doing that? You know what they're going to do is they're going to wait a couple of years and then they're going to have PS3 HD or like PS3.
Well, see, I thought that made the most sense if they're changing underlying architectures completely. If they're going away from the cell processor, how in the hell could they do backwards compatibility between the cell processor code and a more traditional CPU code? I mean, they just can't.
But I mean, just like anything else, you'll see that the greatest hits get ported over or moved over somehow.
Oh, they'll have to be ported, but there won't be an emulation type deal. But
yeah. But I mean, all that stuff sounds totally believable.
The next rumor is about GTA 5. You know how we read all these... I mean, we don't read all these fine print contracts that we have to agree to for all this software. Well, apparently... I've had to sign a couple legal documents before, and there's all this weird reading or weird writing where if any part of this document becomes negated, the rest of the document is still valid. Well, apparently there's something along the line, and that's not the exact wording, but that's the nature of it. I think Rockstar's employment contract was missing that statement saying if part of this is invalid, the rest of it still applies, because the way this rumor is going is somebody got let go for conduct reasons, thereby negating their NDA. So they were no longer bound to be quiet because they'd already been fired and the contract was no longer valid. So he spilled the freaking beans on GTA 5. He said, unlike some previous rumors, you will be playing the entire game as one character. His name is Albert Da Silva. He was in the original trailer briefly. The map in the game is said to be 5 times larger than Grand Theft Auto 4, divided into 3 main areas. The multiplayer is going to be 32 people on consoles. It has not been finalized on PC. Gangs will be supported, like in Red Dead Redemption. Guns and Cars will at least have some minimal customization, such as adding nitrous to cars, suppressors to weapons. Real-time traffic updates will be accessible through your in-game GPS, and on the radio stations, there's going to be more TV stations. The cops in the military, their logic has been fleshed out more. Even if they stop chasing you, the cops at a certain wanted level will be on the lookout for somebody with your general description for 24 hours. And, when the military's after you, they will ramp it up to 72 hours. So I'm guessing there's going to be some options for changing your appearance to evade or avoid those type of situations. But the guy spilled a lot of beans that sounded awfully real.
Yep. I'm not surprised about hearing any of that stuff. I kind of want Sleeping Dogs more than I want Grand Theft Auto 5, though.
Which one?
Sleeping Dogs, the one set in Hong Kong.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of those hipster games.
Oh, of course. I did not know about it.
I'm really getting pissed off that people have decided to start using that word in general conversation. This is ridiculous.
Yes. It is ridiculous. All right.
Because there are real hipsters who definitely deserve scorn.
And the last rumor for this episode kind of brings a tear to my eye, but I can understand it if it's true. Sony are rumored to be shutting down the SOCOM MAG Unit 13 developer Zipper. This is still a rumor.
Totally believable.
This is still a rumor, but I've noticed I've wanted to buy Unit 13, but I've wanted to buy it, walk into a store and grab it and go home and play it. I didn't want to order it online. I didn't want to download it. I can't find the game anywhere, which made me... It struck me odd. It's like there's a shortage of that, but I can buy some other craptastic games at every store, and it's not because they're selling out. But I don't know. It just seems like they've missed the mark. They've been close, I feel, or at least in the ballpark with either MAG or SOCOM or Unit 13, but they're just missing some special sauce or something to keep their games from taking off. Do you guys have any ideas?
It's kind of, SOCOM was just not it was just not big enough or flashy enough or had enough of an edge over the competition to really dig itself a really good niche in the AAA shooter market. It just couldn't. And MAG could have been the premier big multiplayer-only shooter on the consoles that just slaughter all the enemies, but it needed another year in the oven. MAG, a year after it was released, when it had three huge patches and a couple big DLC packs, was phenomenal. If it had launched like that, it would have been crazy popular. But by that time, no one was playing it anymore, and it was basically a dead entity. They were basically... They missed the mark of SOCOM. They were too late with MAG, and Unit 13, despite getting some good reviews, the biggest thing about that is it could have used a much stronger advertising push as one of the big games coming out for the PlayStation Vita. And it seems weird that we weren't just overwhelmed by the ads for the premier first-person shooter on the Vita, that they didn't go all out to the point where we were like, man, I wish I wasn't seeing these Unit 13 ads everywhere.
Okay, now you say that, but if you ask me what game have I seen advertised far and above every other game on the Vita, it's Unit 13.
I've seen ads, but it hasn't come close to the ad campaigns I've seen for other games.
Well, I'm just talking on the Vita. Have you seen any other Vita game advertised more?
Oh, that's true. Maybe my complaint is that the Vita, it didn't. This. What did they say they were going to spend? $50 million?
I have no idea.
They were they were trying to brag about how much money they were going to spend on their marketing, but then we said they spent $1 billion marketing the Kinect. So
it was only $500 million.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, but they just haven't had a lot of success. It's totally believable that they would be suffering some losses from that.
I think Sony's actually going to end up shutting down the rumors. So we got to get to the shoutouts because they shut us down.
Yeah, the rumor's over.
Yep. All right, I want to give a shout-out to Providence from the Big Red Barrel community. Silver Caboose, which just brings an image to my mind of gray butt hair.
Really?
That's not a good image. I really wish I did not have that image. Not gorillas. No. Anyway, also, Silver Caboose is from the Big Red Barrel community. And I'm going to give a special shout-out to Sanjwig. I know Frawlz is pissed and did not want to give a shout out to you, but I have actually been playing Word Feud with Sanjwig for what seems like a year now. So, shout out to Sanjwig.
Like, why would I care about that?
I don't know, but I saw your reply to him on Twitter, and you were pretty, you had some animosity there built up.
I don't remember. I have a lot of animosity nowadays. Working with you, too,
I
for
think
4
you
years.
asked to see his silver caboose, and he said no.
Ew. That sucks.
So, anyway, what kind of
Anyways,
shout-outs do you have, Frawlz?
I got the Jack of Hearts from the BRB community and Lady Wallflower from the community.
Now, was that hearts or farts?
The Hearts. Jack of Hearts. All right. So, I also want to give a special shout out to a couple other people. Will.i.am Timothy. Apparently, he wants a shout out. Damn Skype conversations, man. I don't know why I accept anybody on that thing. I always get messages throughout the day. All right. Also, I'm going to give a special thanks out to G Crusher, Nick Rivs, Cade Rageous from Sony, Kovilik 317, and No, I'm not saying you. You suck. I was going down through the Twitters because everybody's asking for shout-outs. So I was like, why not? Let's do it. And then Nick Sandwig, Jewig, jerk.
Sandwig.
I don't remember why I don't like you, but I think I don't like you at all for whatever reason. Anywho, go.
All right,
Pac-Man. Go on your rant again.
Give a shout out to Sports Crazed 2 from the BigRedBarel community. And shoutouts go to Mind Plague and Shax.
Shax, man.
And
In the asshole.
All right. We have no update on the podcast app, but it is still in the works. So for the folks that have it, keep enjoying the bonus content. For the folks that don't, you should be able to get it when it comes out and go back and listen to the old bonus
you
content.
should be able to get it when it comes out. That's really clear.
That was not the intent of my sentence.
You should be able to get it.
Frawlz.
If you don't, then we've got to talk about something. We got to have a serious conversation.
We are definitely going to talk.
We need to talk about this.
We're about to record bonus content, and we're going to be generally talking about game pricing. So,
prices are too damn high.
Yeah, along with the rent. So we will see you guys next week, and that is all we got.
I won't see you next week because I'm on the internet and I can't actually see you, but I will pretend that I can see you and or hear you and or smell you. When you smell bad, you need a shower.
We embed a Trojan that allows us to view our listeners through their webcam when they download our show.
Oh, you really want to see this?
Haha, we gave you all the internet STD.
Frawlz in your mouth. Let's get out of here.
New Blue Show. It's not the old Blue Show. Old Blue Show. New Blue Show. New Blue Show. Show. It's not the old Blue Show. Old Blue Show. New Blue Show. New Blue Show.
You and your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.